Well, the president's Homeland Security Secretary is halfway through what promises to be one of the two toughest day stretches in a long time.
Kristi Noem appeared before a Senate hearing yesterday and will be back on Capitol Hill in the House today. Good day's Alex Whitler is joining us from the Fox 5 Live Desk with more.
That hearing came to a boiling point with outbursts from the audience and criticism coming from both Democrats and Republicans.
What we've seen is a disaster. Under your leadership, Ms. Noem, a disaster.
Either you are utterly incompetent or you are violating laws with impunity. You should step down from your position. If you don't, you should be removed by this president. And if not, Congress should impeach you.
Democrats are holding up funding over concerns about the chaos that engulfed Minneapolis streets back in January when ICE agents shot and killed 2 Americans. Others brought up security concerns in the wake of what officials are investigating as a possible terror attack in Texas.
Wonder how many people are like that here, waiting to pounce, and DHS doesn't have appropriated funds. This is insane.
We work every single day with our intelligence agencies and law enforcement partners to make sure that we are investigating and finding any threats to the homeland here within our borders.
Noem also faces scrutiny over reports she's flying around in a luxury plane and a reported $220 million ad campaign for the department. It features Noem on horseback.
The president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes.
Well, Secretary Noem will be back on Capitol Hill today to answer more questions in front of House members. Ron?
All right, Alex, thank you so much. Now, back here at home at the state capitol, Governor Brian Kemp has signed the amended fiscal year budget. He was joined by state leaders and First Lady Marty Kemp at the state capitol. The budget includes $2 billion in income tax and property tax relief, transportation investments, and one-time bonuses for teachers and state employees. Governor Kemp says his team has put in months of careful work to create the budget.
The amended budget I'll sign today delivers meaningful relief to the people of Georgia while also making key investments that will drive our state's success for years to come.
Governor Kemp also says there is still more work to do. He says that it includes the final passage of legislation to provide more than $1 billion in income tax relief to Georgians.
Well, there's a battle brewing over Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. 2 metro counties are at odds over whether the airport should pay property taxes. And while most of the airport sits in Clayton County, the city of Atlanta hasn't paid county property taxes on the airport for about 80 years. Some state lawmakers want to put an end to Hartsfield's tax exemption status, saying the proposed change could generate an estimated $50 million each year for Clayton County and nearby cities.
It's about the residents of Clayton County getting what they deserve so that we can have money for sustainability.
No other major airport in this country pays a property tax, not a single one.
Well, opponents warn the change would do more harm than good and say Hartsfield reinvests its revenue back into operations and economic development benefiting the entire state.